KOS-MOS, we are working on the Kotobukiya KOS-MOS version 4 extra coding edition. And last week, that's about as far as we got. We have, you know, the entire lower body. We basically just have the arms and the head and all of the weapons left to go. So let's see if we can't find our place. We've got, so this was the one piece that it was saying recommended the glue on these little black pieces on the edge of the, I don't know if this is an arm guard or a shoulder piece. I think it's the arm guard. But, like, yeah. Hopefully the other side wants to cooperate, but we'll find out. So, find the right page. Looks like we are on page 7 of 10 steps of instructions? Yeah. So the next thing we needed to do is, yeah, find G1 and G7. We should have 2 of them. And yep, we got the extra 1 right here, the extra 7 right here. So if we look at the piece and set it up like so, we need to put 1 on the left and 7 on the right. I'm gonna do these one at a time because they're kind of hard to tell apart. So just don't want to get them mixed up, because if they're recommended to glue them on, I'm imagining they might be a little bit difficult to not switch out and, you know, have potential accidents. Yeah, so this one has a notch only on the one side, so we'll have to try it on both ways, see which way it goes on. I did a terrible job of shaving down the sprue mark on this one. That's what happens whenever it's not dead in front of you. Like, honestly, I don't know if it's just because my eyesight isn't as good as it used to be, but, like, there really is a lot gained from being able to get up close and personal with the model. So this is the left side, and okay, so if I try to put it on the wrong way, it actually tries to swivel to the opposite side. So it's stuck into my finger instead of the piece. Right now it's on there, and we'll give it a nice push. Okay, I think I felt a click. Oh, I didn't feel a click, I felt the other side of the piece coming apart, because I applied too much pressure. Okay, so this one is being a little bit temperamental right now. It's not wanting to actually stick on there very well. We'll see if it kind of solidifies with a little bit of time, as it kind of rests in there and gets more of a friction fit. And we'll go ahead and clip out piece 7. Try it on both ways. Yeah, I mean, you kind of got to. This one sticks a little bit better because piece 7, it has, it's kind of hard to see. I don't know if the camera's going to focus on it. But it actually has a notch kind of in the middle, so the notch kind of goes both ways, whereas the other one, it's only on the side, so it's hard to see. Well, it's hard to get like a nice snap in. But I managed to get the other side to fit without it, so we'll see if it wants to stay. If it doesn't, we'll put a little dab of plastic glue on there to keep it in place.
Hello, motherfucker.
Hello, Midge. Good afternoon, Caledon. How you doing? We're just continuing on this model build of this KOS-MOS model. Okay, yeah, this one side's not gonna stick on. And let's be honest, this doesn't look like it's gonna be a piece that I'm gonna have to potentially repaint in the future. That's mostly for some of the more clean pieces. So it might be okay to glue it on now. I know I always get hesitant about gluing things whenever I might have to disassemble for better painting later on. And being that this is like a black and a white piece. But you know what? Now it wants to stay on perfectly fine. I must not have had it completely seated before. So next is we need the J pieces. We need J5 and J8 and J3. Where is sprue J? I've got A through E up here on the top. Over here on... Oh, you know, I think it's these white sprues that I've got 2 of. Yep, because I gotta make duplicates of these. So I need 5 and 8 and 3. So we got 5 here. And we've got 8. And then 3 is this one over here. It's a nice jointing piece. Yeah, Midge, my parrot does tend to carry. He's kind of ridiculous. You doing okay? Feeling kind of groggy? Been having kind of low energy? Well, my biggest thing to say is, you know, if you live in an area with a lot of shade, make sure you've got some good vitamin D in you. Vitamin D is real good at making you feel groggy if you're too low on it. But yeah, it's unfortunate to hear that. I know for myself personally, being groggy is one of the worst feelings on the face of the earth. So I do not, I don't wish that on anybody. I hope everybody's been having a good day overall in general, other than that. I know it's been a crazy couple of weeks for me. Lots of personal stuff going on. But it's, we're working through it, and, you know, should come out the other side just fine. So we just basically... So it's like these 2 flange pieces that kind of come in over this joint piece. I'm not entirely certain what this is the joint to just yet. I mean, obviously it's part of the arm. Just don't know exactly what part yet. That's a nice secure clamp of those 3 pieces together. So now I need my other sprue J, which is sitting right in front of me. And 3. This hurts, Mitch. see, I know Zay builds models. The rest of you, I don't know if you've ever built models before, but it's such a cathartic feeling. Like, it's nice to stream this all for you guys, but like, it is just very much chilling out. You were recently introduced to the idea of using glass nail files for sprue nub cleanup, and your mind feels like it's been blown away. You know, I have some glass nail files, and like that makes sense because I know I've seen people use just like standard like emery boards that people would use for their nails on that, but like I don't know, like I like the flexibility of certain sanding things. Like honestly, I use one of these metal files for mine, but I kind of, as you can tell, I kind of just use a knife most of the time. I'm too lazy to actually switch over to a sanding tool. Probably, you know, would be better if I did, but I'm also lazy. Unless it's like a weird angle, I tend not to break out a sanding stick. Because usually I can just guide my blade down the curve of whatever the object is to make it nice and smooth. But yeah, glass nail files, I've used them on my own nails, and they're really nice. Knife and sanding stick is pretty good. What you usually use for a smooth finish? The ones that have little holes instead of metal files? Interesting. I don't think I've actually seen those, now that you mention the little holes. The glass files that I have are literally just straight glass. Like, I think I actually have one up to the left of me here. But it's a big-ass chonker. Okay, so we got past that. Next, we have to make 2 of them again. We need, okay, that was confusing. It was labeled as 18 and just 18. Okay, so this one is, like, a really confusing thing. Like, we got pieces that go together here, and then we have them going onto this, and then this going into here, and then 2 pieces coming into it. So it's like, you actually gotta read bottom to top. The glass nail files will replace your metal ones for plastic models. Yeah, let me show you what I've got that's a glass file. Like, the glass file that I have is literally just this. It's just a big, long sheet of glass with rough portions. It doesn't have holes or anything. That's interesting, though. I might have to look for that, especially if there's smaller ones. That looks right? Okay. Yeah, I do have smaller ones. I keep a smaller one in my purse. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so I need G and F, which should both be over here on my left-hand side, I believe. Oh, wait, no. G is this right here. F is gold. Okay, so we need F25. Am I blind? I think I'm blind. Oh, wait. I thought these were sprue nubs, but this is actually the piece I need. And I do have to make 2 of them. So... trying to see the best way to clip this out without causing problems. It's got like a weird like ball nub on the one side. But it doesn't have any guides about being careful with cutting it out, so that sprue leading up to it does need to be chipped then. I'm just going to cut both the 25s out right now. And then I need G, 2 and 4. Again, these are kind of hard to distinguish, but the 2, let's see, can I get this to refocus? Yeah, so 2 you can see has a real nice sharp divot in it, whereas 4 is just kind of like notched on one side. So they're somewhat easy to tell apart, but not bad. Ah, interesting. So the glass is a little bit gentler on the plastic. That's good to know. I might have to try that out. Obviously, I'd have to go grab the precision one because I can't imagine using that big fat fucker that I was just showing you guys um, for model building. I was actually just looking into like some really interesting um, sanding bars that it's like a hexagonal piece of plastic with a bunch of different angles on it, and it uses actually like a little belts of sanding material, and you put that belt around the tool and it gives you a whole bunch of different angular sections for sanding. I was kind of looking at that. I thought that might be an interesting pickup. But if you say the glass files work well, I might try that first. Cleaning up these little tiny pieces really make me feel like I have huge hands, despite the fact that I know I don't. Okay, so we take F, which I actually did not clean up yet. This piece actually has a sizable chunk of mold lines on it, which is unfortunate because the gold pieces have the nice coating. So I'm going to actually refrain from cleaning this up too much because I don't want the coating to get eroded away. Just mostly going to clean up the joints because the coating is honestly more important than the clean mold lines on these gold pieces. But like you can see, if I can get this to focus here, you can see like there's a nasty mold line right, come on, yeah, like right here there's a nasty mold line. This section here where this sprue line is, there's a nice nasty mold line. It's just like, this is probably the worst molded piece on the entire unit so far. But throw the video that had them in the Discord, awesome. At the same time, like, I'm complaining about the nasty mold lines, but I actually, since I haven't finished assembling it yet, they might get hidden by other things. Or they might be, you know, one of those things that is kind of like part of the expected finish of the model. Because sometimes people build that into the mold line. They put little edges where there's, you know, they put the mold where the break is on purpose. Okay, so I don't remember which side's 4 and which side's 2, but we should be able to find out by how they slide in. And this one slid in pretty well, but it's not wanting to go all the way on, so I'm thinking this might be wrong. Or I just had it backwards. Okay. And the other side. That's definitely backwards. Okay, come on. Turn around. Okay, yeah, no, I 100% flipped these. This is why you only cut out one at a time whenever you have pieces that look nearly identical. Okay, yeah, that one notched in really well. And now this one on the other side should be pretty easy. Looking down the gold. Okay, I think that's backwards. There we go. That actually honestly looks really nice, but yeah, that mold line is kind of unfortunate. So let's go ahead and get the other pieces. Japanese kits are much better at mold line and sprue nub placement for sure. Good amount of your Gundam kits are not needed to go ham on the cleanup. Yeah, like, I love whenever they decide to, like, put the mold lines, like, especially on, like, the inside of the model. Like, that's just stellar. Like, if you can hide the entire mold line at the end of the day, then you win. But, like, I understand, like, they can be a little bit more choosy because the kits are larger. They can also get a lot better on the mold lines in general because they need less tolerances versus, like, a GW kit where a tiny-ass mold line makes a huge deal. Okay, so this was 4 that I cut out. So, per this, 4 goes on the side that's to the left of where the sprue nub was. And of course I drop it, because Butterfingers. And yeah, that was much better than having to fiddle around. And then we've got 2, and after this bit, we are done with all of the fiddly little garbage on this sprue. There's only 1 piece left on this sprue, and it's not that fiddly looking. Nothing, in my opinion, will ever dwarf. I think it's also they just still manually choose the placement on the sprues. Does GW not do that? Because, I mean, I'd imagine that, like, all of these would have to be manually placed regardless of what company you work for, just because, well, you gotta, like, set it right and test the flow and such. GW just throws a computer at it and then you end up with a nub right on the apex of a domed shoulder plate. Okay. Yeah, if GW is using computers for it, that's... I guess that's gonna take a lot of the brain power out of it. And theoretically, it should be better that way, but at the same time, unfortunately, it doesn't exactly go that way all the time. Okay, what is just 18? I'm very confused about this just numbered piece. Oh, I'm dumb. It's step 18. This is 18. Okay, so I take step 18, and there should be a little nub on the back of it. Yep. And this just kind of snaps onto the side of it. Okay, that looks cool. I honestly, like, there's so many details in this kit that I didn't even notice playing the game and looking at the character. But the fact that this actually moves around a little bit is super cool. So now I just gotta get the pieces in the side of it, which are the D sprue, which... This is my polycap sprue. Where did I put D? D is way up here. D are those little, almost crystalline looking bits. So I'm definitely going to do these one at a time, just because they're small and they're almost invisible. Literally the only difference in the 2 bits is where the placement of these tiny assholes are. So yeah, I'm not going to mix those up. I'll cut out both 2s, put both 2s in, and then I'll do both 1s. That or they have a Tetris champion doing their sprues. Yeah, some of their newer sprues have some crazy density of parts on there. Like, some of them are a little better, and more looser, but I just remember, like, the Sisters of Battle limited edition kits were just, like, holy crap, there was just so much crammed so tightly. And honestly, that kit wasn't that bad. Like, those were pretty clean models, too. So if they're doing it by computer, that worked. You have some where you can't get the clipper in it. Yeah, like I've got these army painter clippers that work pretty well for me, but I've debated getting a pair of God hands just because like. Okay, yeah, so I clipped out 2, so 2 needs to go on the right side, relevant to the gold marker. I'm confused, am I dumb? Is this not 18? Oh. I missed a step, y'all. So these pieces right here, they've got these little L-shaped markings. These D's just have dots. That's obviously not going in right. That's because there's a piece left on this sprue. See the dots? Yeah, that's what goes in that spot. I'm a dumbass. I completely forgot to put that on. Okay, we'll clip out both 1s, and then we'll go to both the 2s. Okay, there's 1. Grab the other sprue. Honestly, God hand clippers, they look so nice to use, but they also look terrifyingly easy to break. For those of you who aren't familiar with God hand clippers, they're basically the same as these kind of clippers I've got right here, these Army Painter ones. But at the tip of the Army Painter ones, you've got this nice bevel so that it gets in real tight to get to the piece. But you've got this big V. And these pieces are actually relatively chunky on the side. The God hands take where it starts beveling and like they straight up cut down, and it's just like a laser thin wedge that's the blades. And so like it feels like you'd be able to break them really easily, but they're super tiny for getting in and a nice tight grip on the nubs. Tips you see for them are to use for cleanup rather than sprue removal. You want to avoid breaking them easy. That makes sense. So basically more so using them like I use a knife as opposed to... That also makes sense with like a lot of the recommendations I hear about doing Gundam kits. I hear a lot of people talking about cutting them, like removing them from the sprue with a decent chunk of the nub left, and then going in and cleaning it up once it's actually already off, which to me always felt like just a, hey, yeah, you with the doll-ass clippers, don't break the piece by applying too much pressure, you know, put impact marks on the piece next to it instead of actually clipping it. But that might just be me being overly judgmental. Okay, so line these up. These pieces are actually really interesting. So they're flat, but then they've got a slight bevel on the end because they actually go down and around the joint. Yeah, like, I've never personally had to terribly worry about strain marking on my pieces. I don't know if it's just because I have sharp clippers or cut in a specific way that somehow avoids them. I'm putting this on the wrong side of the bit. Okay. There we go. Strain marks are awful because they'll go deep, so even if you get a smooth surface, there's still that white dot. Yeah, the white dot from the strain markings, I've had it like once or twice, but ever since I like the first time I got them, I realized 90% of the reason I got them was because I was being too timid in cutting the piece off. Like, whenever I cut nowadays, I fit the piece over, and then I just do a nice, quick, firm crush with my hands. And it's usually pretty good at eliminating the stress marking, because it's just a nice, swift crunch, and it doesn't have the time to, like, apply that pressure before cutting. Forgot where I put my knife. It was right next to my screen. How fuck? So this kit has had fucking sharpness on the tips of these pieces rivaling GW Drukari kits. Like, I appreciate how clean and sharp the edges are, but Jesus Christ, I hate stabbing myself sometimes. It's interesting that they decided to use an L-shaped notching for this, but then they just put 2 dots for the next piece to connect to. You broke your local Dolly install? So much for that. Oh, Dolly is that weird AI thing that makes the photos that people have been memeing about lately, isn't it? I was trying to remember what it is, because I'm not entirely certain, but I vaguely think that that's that AI photo generation thing. Okay, I was right. Yeah, I've seen some, like, really interesting shit come out of that. Like, some of it being, like, kind of nightmare fuel, some of it being, like, really cool. Come on, go in the slot. These pieces are a little bit harder to get on than they should be, strictly because of the fact that I've already put this gold chunk on, and I could just pull the gold chunk off, but why put stress on the thing whenever I don't have to? Okay, so this is 18 with the gold piece to the back. My blue 2 pieces go on the right side. Okay, so there is a large dot and a small dot. Am I gonna have to get the tweezers out to get this to go the right fucking direction? Nope, looks like I managed. Crush that in there. I love these little blue bits. They're honestly so pretty. It's the kind of thing that, like, I know the model isn't supposed to, but if I wanted to go, like, super, super extra with this kit, I would hollow out these pieces and put an LED inside, just so that these blue pieces could shine through. Because they're, like, that nice translucent plastic that I wish GW kept on their modern Necron kits, but I understand why they decided to go to the injection molded plastic. Made it a lot easier. But I don't know. I love translucent plastic so fucking much. It looks so cool. Like, I am absolutely keeping this sprue, even though it's empty now. Just because, like, I love it. It's coming out really terribly on the camera. Come on, refocus. But, like, you can see it's a little translucent, but if I get a light up next to it, it, like, in real life, it's got a real nice glow to it when the light shines through it. Nice, this piece broke cleanly without any sprue removal needed. And so did this one. Okay, so these just have 2 of the same size and they almost look symmetrical. Okay, no, one is very, very, very slightly larger. That's moderately annoying. But I think I got it right. And I dropped it. Okay. Didn't want to go in that way, so I'm assuming I had it backwards. Put it back on the opposite way. Can't tell if that's in or not. I don't like this bit. Okay, yeah, the one piece is just falling in and the other side is fighting me. So I had it right the first time. Okay, there we go. Got a nice pop in on that side. What's interesting about this piece is I've been cleaning up the sprue lines, but it's hard to see. If this wants to focus, there's like a slight divot on the back side of these pieces. So even though I've cleaned it up nicely, there's still an intentional divot. And I guess that's part of the original design, but it's something that you would obviously never notice on a PS2's tiny-ass 480 display. Damn it. Okay, I do not like that these bits just have like 2 alignment dots. Because like, the dots don't want to align themselves well. They don't want to go in the fucking hole. There we go. That one finally popped in. I can't imagine putting this together without nails. Or at least some kind of like pointed clamp. There's just been too many things I've had to apply pressure. And I don't know about like you guys when you build models, how you apply pressure. But I very much like tend to use my nails to give like a very precise pressure point. Okay, so now I need to build a last piece with the flesh. No, not the flesh. It's H. Which sprue is... Okay, yeah. H is one of these black sprues. So we need H2, 13, and 15. Alright, so here's 15. Two is here. And then 13's up here. I don't remember where I was having these cutters sit last time. Not cutters. The instructions sit last time I was streaming this, but it's about 30 to 40 degrees hotter today than it was then, and the instruction manual keeps sticking to my arm whenever I lay my arm down on it, which is like wonderful. Like, I hate the weather. It's in Fahrenheit units, it's like 85 today with a crap ton of humidity, so it feels like it's in the 90s. I think that's close to the 30s for Celsius. So it's pretty gross here. So 13, which is the little jointing piece, faces upwards. And then 2 comes in, okay, so the joint faces backwards, 2 comes in on the left, into the hole, and then 15 closes it. This is just a nice elbow joint, I believe. Yep, that swivels nice and easy. So then we take 17, which was the smaller of these, place it onto the top notch. God damn it, I'm breaking this way again. This little piece right here, like this back section, is just held on by a fucking pin. And every time I touch it, it's wanting to collapse. And that was not a piece that was recommended to glue. So then we take this 16, what I assume is the shoulder joint. And then we take 19, which is one of these new pieces we just accomplished, and drive it in. Ah! Fucking bit me. Alright, so that's a very complicated arm. And then we can choose between different hands. So the hands are right here. I love how, like, they're actually not numbered in the instructions. It literally just says, I assume this translates to open hand and closed hand, but, like, it's just funny to me. Like, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter which one, it just matters which handedness this is. So I'm going to go ahead and use the diagram. If I look at this hand in the diagram, okay, so this is the right hand. I'm going to use the closed hand for right now. Use this closed hand and just pop it in here. Just because I have a feeling we're gonna put guns on. Oh, that's interesting. The plastic that these hands are made out of is slightly flexible. I assume that the hand is probably made out of the same material as polycaps are, just based on the way it feels. Okay, so now we have to assemble the other side, which means I need sprue H back again. That is sprue G, not H. And yeah, we're going to take the last 3 bits off of this sprue. And do just like we did with the last one. The one thing that I do have to say about this part right here is, like, I know that this joint is completely hidden, but, like, the elbow side of the joint is where the sprue is, which, if I don't shave it down well, is not only going to impede the movement a little bit, it's also going to be very visible on the end model. Which, that's always unfortunate. Okay, so face the joint upwards. Piece 14 is on the right with the dot, and piece 1 has the actual joint. Okay, now we just have to assemble this one. So we've got 16 at the top, 17 comes in below. I do love how they have these, like, jagged pieces here to, like, show the top of the stocking. I know stocking's not exactly the right term, but my brain can't think of what the term for, I guess kind of like a long opera glove is more so what it is. But that sounds weird whenever it's, like, on an Android. Alright, so we have this arm, and then we're just going to grab the other closed fist for right now. I don't know if it's what we're going to want, but we'll take it. Where's my knife? Knife is right in front of you guys. Pop this in. And now we have two nice arms. And we're just going to pop these into the main body. Okay. Okay, I'm knocking the entire thing apart now. I'm a genius. I do love that these like side pieces are literally just like friction held into the boobs. Like, okay. Like there could have been a better way to do that. Okay. Wow, I'm not a fan of this shoulder joint. It's like not the most firmly held at all. Alright, there's one of those pieces that they recommended gluing in, that I never did. Falling out because I applied too much pressure trying to get the shoulder joint in. Okay, this is fun. Am I doing snap or glue? All of this is snap at this point. I haven't glued anything. And that's, you know, at this point it's probably a mistake, just because these pieces are kind of falling off. They should be all snap fittable, but okay, this shoulder joint is actually pissing me off. Like, a shoulder joint should not be this loose. And I don't know if it's just because of the coating on these pieces, because these flesh-colored pieces have a slight coating on them that you'd imagine would give more friction. Okay. I think it's just that this shoulder joint, it's too stiff. Yeah, it's like super fucking stiff. I guess I can work it a little bit real quick. So like reposing it was causing it to all fall apart. If this piece wants to continue being a bastard, I'm probably going to glue it. Like, I can't glue the shoulder joint. Like, that's just not something you can do. The shoulder joint's the thing that's giving me the problem. If it wasn't for the shoulder joint being problematic, everything else wouldn't be falling apart. This, I would definitely describe this as the least favorite part of the kit so far. Just the general torso connections all together. Because I remember a couple weeks back, whenever we streamed the first part of putting this together, the torso connecting to like the upper spine region, that joint is all sorts of strange. Like, it's not even aligned inside the body, so I had an issue getting it to stay together for a while. So next is the head, which I don't know why, for some reason at this point in the kit, they decided to use a fold-out for the rest of it, whenever realistically, if they just put one more page in, it would have been so much easier to manage. Okay, so we need sprue A, which, if I remember correctly, is actually the hair. Yep, sprue A. Okay, so we need A8, which is this like weird armature piece that's going to be like the base of the skull, I assume. And then I also need A5. which is a nice big round swivel point. I'm assuming that's going to be the like neck connection. I clipped these out ugly. Is this ABS? Okay, yeah. This translucent like hair color piece is ABS. And let me tell you, I can tell it is considerably harder to shave chunks off of. And you know, maybe that's the problem. Because the flesh-colored pieces on the body are also ABS. And I'm wondering if it's just that because the ABS doesn't flex well, it's causing issues with the joints actually staying together. Okay, so the armature is going to point towards the back, and then the swivel joint's going to go towards the back. Alright, yeah, so we have this nice swiveling piece. And now we need 2 polycaps. We need 2 A polycaps. Here's one of these shoulder pieces that fell off again. I'm definitely going to need to glue these at the end of this. I'm just wondering how much of this, at the end of the day, I'm going to want to, you know, like, do a little bit of paint touch-up to make better. And that's the main reason I'm not gluing yet. Alright, so we've got 2 A polycaps. And we're just going to take both of them off at this point. And these have just one single hole through them. And that's just going to go on the ends of these fucking stems. And they're supposed to go all the fucking way up on there. This is going to be a pain in the ass. Because I swear this is sticking like a small hole onto a large peg. I mean, I guess it's ABS, I don't have to worry about breaking it, but at the same time, like, fuck off. I'm having issues just getting it started. Polycaps are supposed to be flexible, and this is not being fun to me. I'm also slightly worried about, like, skewering my thumb. Okay, got it like halfway on. Alright, let's get the other one on, and then I'll just like use the force of pressing against both to try to get it the rest of the way on. Almost just jettisoned the polycap across the room. Come on. Okay, I've got them both halfway on. Okay, that worked. Once it got about halfway on, got past that like middle seam of the polycap, the rest slid on super easily. Ah, there we go. So we've got 2 little polycaps on the base of this piece. And then this is going to go into A4, which is like, I think this is like the back of the hair. Now this goes into... There's a little notch in the back of it, and there's an equivalent notch on the back of this. And... Did that go together right? Okay, there we go. It was slightly misaligned at first, and now I need F19, which F is gold pieces. I don't see how this is going to go together very right. Okay, F19 is just this weird piece right here. And this is going to go into the bottom of this. So we've got the polycaps. And then... Okay. Let me pop this back off. This should have gone on first. So this just kind of sits into the back of this. Right? Yeah, like that. I'm not entirely certain what this is. Is this like the back of the neck? And then this is going to notch into that piece in the back of the blue, but it's also going to notch into the gold. Double alignment. There we go. Why are there polycaps on a piece that can't fucking move? Like, you would imagine these would be the pieces that would move, but like, they're just kind of like, I don't know, that's seeming kind of sus to me at this point. Okay, so now we need A3 and 6. So 3 is like this big chunk, which kind of feels like the inside of the head, with the way that the shaping is. And then 6 is clearly the top back. It's a very interesting choice to use the transparent plastic for like the actual like structure of the head. Clean up this one, but not too much because it is the insertion nubs. Gold piece as well. I remember there being so much gold on KOS-MOS's head. I apologize, not a gold piece. E, which is fleshy pieces. So we're gonna need E6. Which is this? Yes. It's okay, so this is very clearly the actual neck. Considering there's only one other flesh piece here and it looks like boobs. So I'm not sure why we haven't touched that piece yet. Because we've definitely constructed the boobs. I wonder if it's an alternate build piece if you want to build like with the boob knife out. Because there's no better way to call that piece. The random boob knife that launches a cannon. Okay, so the one that looks like the actual head structure is this one right here. And we're gonna look at the back of it, and then E6 goes up into the front of it. Wait, what? Okay, so the instructions are saying to be very careful about the way it is pointed. Because apparently, this piece, despite looking round, is slightly not round. And we want to face the one side forward. I'm not sure which side that is. It's the side that sticks out slightly more. Which is not the clarification that I wanted. But it's the clarification that I apparently get. Okay. That looks like this side is sticking out slightly further. It's really hard to tell. That's kind of a dumb method. Like, I assume it's supposed to represent, like, the front of the neck. Wow, it's got that slight rise, but, like, that's a little bit too much realism. I don't need that much. She's a robot. Alright, so these pieces just go into here like this. That doesn't look right at all, but that is actually how it's supposed to look. And then we take the piece from the last part and shove it into the back. Why is there so much joints just on the fucking back of the hair? Okay, so we got the neck here, and then this swivels and has polycaps on the... Oh, that's where the hair is going to connect. So you can actually have the hair out flowing behind her, I think. I think that's what that vibe is. Okay, so now we need B, which is white chunks. We need B9, which is this right here. It's telling me to be careful not to cut off the nubs, which is a very good representation because I probably would have if I had not read that. Because there are 3 nubs, and then we decided to put the sprue gates on 2 of them. You're a white chunk? Oh, Midge. Aren't we all? Well, I guess not all of us, but I can definitely be described as a white chunk as well. This middle sprue point is so weird. It's triangular. So, like... What? They put this sprue gate on a triangular joint piece. And, like, I'm real hesitant about cleaning this up at all. That's so fucking strange. Okay, and then I have to combine it with 10 because I didn't pay attention to what the next step was. Which 10, you know, it's got two of those nubs as well to go into something, but no, we didn't have to put the gates at any of those. We could put the gates safely on the edges. Still not entirely certain what this is. I'm assuming it's like maybe her, the piece that goes over her head. So these 2 pieces just have 2 little pins that will stick them together. They're sharp as fuck on the tips. I think even on the edges here they're pretty sharp. And then we take this and... Okay, so that little triangular sprue point literally is the only thing that holds this on. Oh, I hope that gets resolved. Because that's fucking terrible. Yeah, like that doesn't stay. Okay, yeah, so, next step, we need T, which if I remember T are little bagged pieces. Flipping back to the front of the booklet to make sure that I'm looking at the right chunks. Okay, so T7 is, yeah. Move all of these sprues out of the way. T7 and 8 are these pieces right here. Well, 6 and 7 rather. And I'm just going to go ahead and get them both out because the next side does need the other one. Next step, rather. I'll have to pay attention to which side is the important one. It's not like they're fucking numbered anyways. So I just have to do the facing, essentially. And then I need sprue B, which is white stuff, right? Yes. Reminds you of the single nub that holds on the V-shaped antenna for most Gundam kits. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I haven't built many Gundam kits, but I've seen somebody put that together, and it's literally just that like little tiny. The only difference is like on the Gundam kits, that's usually going into a solid piece. Like this is going into. Let me see if I can get a good close-up of it. Like this little nub in the back of the head that doesn't even have a bottom side is what holds this in. Like it's literally just, come on. It's a little singular triangular point that just goes into this little square slot and just sits there. Like, nothing's gonna hold that in. Like I can tell, like there's stuff on the side that I assume is going to connect to the rest of the head to make it stay in a little bit better. But, yeah, questionable decisions on that piece. But I need B15. Alright, B15 is right here. I'm also going to need 13, and I guess they're all faced, so might as well cut them both out right now. Cut this little gate right quick. And this one connects with the wing that goes to the right. Yes. So this is going to connect at the back here with this little L-shaped joint. Okay, I'm entirely doing this upside down, aren't I? Okay, this is the right side, and this is 13. So wait, is it supposed to connect from the back? Oh, this is weird, isn't it? So typically when you see a notch on pieces, you expect it to go in from the front face. But no, this one is actually the piece is like hollow, and the L-shaped joint is on the front of it. And the hollow actually goes onto the piece, and the L is going to come out the front. But this is interesting fitment. Yeah, so like you can see here, like that L, it's coming through the front face, but that piece is actually, it's hollow on the inside, and the L is on the front flat face. So it's a very weird fitment. And the other side is going to do the same thing, just with a different piece. And it would probably go on a lot easier if I had actually shaved down that sprue gate. But no, I left it nice and chunky on there. Oh damn, I'm actually going to use the clippers for this because I left a lot of that gate on. Alright, so that's the one that's already complete. And then this one's just gonna go on here like so. That went on really easily, compared to the opposite side. Okay, so this is actually what's gonna hold that piece on, it looks like. So, we have this. We have that little nub. Okay, I'm gonna pay attention to this again for alignment purposes, because it is a different notch on either side. The notch needs to face down on the right side of the head. Alright, so we're gonna get it in there. And then this piece is on the wrong side. This piece is going to come in. Okay, so this has two joints. It's got an L joint here and it's got an L joint here, and it's going to go onto both the base head as well as the white piece. So that's going to solidify all of these connections together. I just wish there was a better way to hold it steady other than just keeping it in this notch for right now. And now it doesn't even want to go in the notch. Okay, I think I might be dumb now, guys. Is it not supposed to be a V-shaped gate? Turning around just to get a little bit more lighting in this. Okay, I have this weird feeling like it's... Like, I know it's not upside down, but it feels like it is, because the triangular bits. But if I pay attention to the alignments, it definitely has to be the other way around. Do I need to trim down this sprue again? I think it might just be that I need to trim it down a little bit more from the gate. Realistically, this isn't the piece that actually holds it into place at the end of the day. So it's okay if it's a little fucky. Oh, okay. So this is actually a lot more secure than I thought it was. It was being weird to me before because, like, you can see it looks like a little nub, but it is triangular. And before I was sticking it on upside down, and so it was causing it to not actually fit right. But now that I've trimmed the edge, it actually almost slides in sockets there. And it's actually staying pretty decently on its own. So, I'm just dumb, is the moral of the story. It still is not going to hold itself very well for putting this on, though, I'm pretty sure. Thankfully, once one side is put on, the other side should become a fairly simple choice. Okay, come on. Okay, I've got it halfway onto the head and halfway onto this piece. I'm gonna try to stick the other side on and then just like squeeze the entire fucking head to make it sit right. I'm kind of surprised that this piece, like, it comes around to like her chin almost in the game, if I remember correctly. I'm surprised we haven't put the front of the face on yet. Oh my god, the side of the face does not want to go together. Okay, yeah. Once I got the other side on, a nice squeeze on both sides, got that to push together super easily. And yeah, that's a thing. The hair, wow, that still allows it to go back real far. I'm actually relatively impressed by how much mobility that still has. Okay, so now I need a 9, 10, and 12, and 13. So we've got 9 here. 10's right next to it. And 12 and 13, I would be worried about clipping one and paying it different from the other, but they actually slot into each other, so not too worried about getting them mixed up. I'm honestly semi-surprised that this semi-translucent plastic for the hair is made of ABS. But, I mean, they're using as the structural piece for the entire skull. So, weird choice, but it works out. So one thing that I hate is whenever they put the screw gate at the end of a nub that, like, goes into another piece. And, like, I get, like, in most cases that should be fine. It's a nice clean edge that you can shave down real flat. But I didn't think to shave that down whenever I first started putting kits together. And I had a couple pieces that I ended up breaking because, since I didn't shave down that nub, whenever I went to put the pieces together, it wouldn't go all the way together. And I ended up, like, breaking it, pulling it apart to try to get that piece shaved down. But that's definitely something we file under #lessons_learned and move on with our lives. Okay, so 10, which is the smallest of 3, goes into 9. 9 has the little nub coming down in the back. So just a little notch in the front here that the front goes into. So we got the nice bang structure. And then 12 and 10 and 12 and 13 just have 2 little notches that go into the back of that. Get those lined up. I'm fucking blind. Yes, let's tell where the holes are in the translucent plastic from far away. is it not all the way together, or did I just not trim the sprue well? Let me go ahead and the gate was slightly enlarging the one side of the nub, so I'm just shaving that off real quick. Didn't catch that before, but it was causing it to have a little bit extra friction. Come on. Alright, so now we have the nice front cone of the hair. And then we need a 11. Figured that was going to come out eventually. And this seems to be an ahoge. Gotta be careful not to cut the base of the sprue off on this one, because we had this same issue on the Lena kit whenever we made the head on it. It uses just a singular sprue point to connect to the rest of the body, and this is definitely what I would compare to that V-shaped antenna on the Gundam kits, because it literally is just like a tiny little nub that goes into the center. Let's make sure this is aligned. Okay, the ahoge should be facing to the right. Let's see if I can squeeze this a little tighter, because it is between 9 and 12 and 13 where this notch is. So I'm just trying to see if I can get it a little tighter in there. It seems to be relatively secure. We'll see whenever we actually get it put together. And then we're just leaving that. Not sure why we made that yet, if we're not attaching it to the main body, but that is what it is. So now we need white. We need B1. It's this this nice little piece right here, which I'm assuming is going to be what gets covered by one of the stickers in the end. Just because this is the piece that on in the final kit, it's the head piece that goes in front of her eyes that's got the nice like logo on it. So if that doesn't get a sticker and it's just left this plain white, that's a failure of this kit. But there is a decent quantity of stickers that it has not even told us to do anything with yet. Okay, so we got B1, we need G6. G is one of my gray sprues. Alright, yeah, G and 6, which is right here. I called it a gray sprue, and I'm not exactly sure why. But I'm not entirely certain what color to call this either. Like, it's like an off-black. Like, off-white is common nomenclature, but calling something off-black is a little weird. I'm not sure if it's like a really dark, like almost a navy blue or what, but it's not exactly black. It looks like black if you left it to, like, sit in the sun for a couple years. Gunmetal gray? You know, honestly, I don't even think it's not even gunmetal gray, because, like, I do have a couple of gunmetal gray sprues right here. It's just, like, it's like this, like, dark bluish black. Okay, so this goes with B1, and then I need A7, which is the rest of the bangs. Okay. So I've got this piece. And we'll just hold on to that right now. And, okay, so we need B1 faces the top. G6 goes underneath, kind of doing like a Pokeball effect. And that's all gonna go into the front of A. I'm not entirely certain what's going to hold. Okay. This is gonna be easier if I do it one piece at a time. There's 3 tiny holes in this. And facing each of them separately is going to be easier than trying to face all 3 of them at the same time. So we got the bottom ring in, and the top's just going to notch on front. Boom. Okay, and then for the next piece, we need T's. T's are the prepackaged ones. Which, okay, so we got T9 and T8, which are these 2. I'm very confused. Is this just like duplicates of the same piece? I'm very confused. So I do really appreciate these little tiny baggy pieces, because they're definitely going to add some nice production value at the end. Because I don't know if they mold these separately or like paint them on a special machine or whatnot. Because like they're multicolored and multifaceted. Like this, we've got the nice plain black plastic, but it's also got translucent green plastic on it. And I'm not entirely certain how that gets made. But it's just got 2 little nubs, just like the other piece. Like, this looks like identical to the piece we just made, minus a slight chunk of it. Come on, go together. Okay, I'm trying to stick it on upside down. That explains a lot. So we've got the... Oh, I guess it's the same thing, but like when this white piece comes down and shows the nice green underlay of it. I'm assuming I'm going to have a choice between the 2 of those. I'm 100% right. Okay, so now I need the face. Oh, right, I don't have to apply stickers to the face, because the faces are already stickered, which is a super, super nice element. So I've got 4 different faces, one of which has like a sideways look, one which has a straight on, one which has a leftwards, and one which has the red eyes. And I'm not sure which one it's wanted me to put on here. It does have some Japanese on it. Like a dark ink. Yeah, somewhat. Like, if I put it next to a couple of different colors, you might be able to tell a little bit better. So like, if we look... Come on, let's focus a little bit better. You can see, like, this is that translucent blue color that is part of the kit. And we've got the gunmetal gray here, but, like, this is just, like, it's not entirely black. Like, we've got the black of the manual right here. It's just a little bit off from it. So I'm going to go ahead and bust out Google Translate on my phone real quick. Translate. And we'll bring out the camera and see what it's wanting us to look at here. Okay, it literally just says face parts. And underneath it just says, please select your favorite facial expression and attach the faceplate. I'm actually really surprised at how well Google Translate with the automatic camera translation is working for that. So I guess I just choose one. I find it interesting that they gave us 3 blue faces and only 1 red, because the red one is KOS-MOS. The 3 blue faces are whenever she turns into Mary. Which is still a super fucking weird twist, but whatever. We'll just go with the straight-on Mary face. And we'll go with the super cool fighting headpiece. Because if I remember correctly, the very first time that we see the blue Mary eyes is in Xenosaga 2, whenever she actually uses the cannon. So I'm just kind of vibing off of that. Looks nice and cool. And fuck it. I'm gonna go ahead and take the other one out, because this is just a choose-your-own-adventure at this point. I'm gonna take out the KOS-MOS face and put it on the closed option. So you got your badass Mary and your normal KOS-MOS. And then the second part is I take the head and we actually swivel it in. Like, it literally tells you that you have to, like, swivel it behind the little cheek pieces. And there's just a single pin that goes into the back of the head. Snaps in real nice like that. And then the hair that we put together before comes down on top. Let me make sure how that joint works. Okay, so there's just a little notch that goes on top. A little notch I'm having an issue finding. Do I have to, like, apply some pressure? Okay. Slightly misaligned. And there we go. We've got a nice KOS-MOS head. That honestly looks super neat. Now we just have to finish the hair. So we have the 2 separate chunks of hair. I'm just going to cut them both out, because they both just go into the poly caps. God, with these larger pieces of the hair, you can definitely tell it's ABS. It's got like a nice structural integrity that you don't really feel with anything else. And then this literally just like, it literally just sockets onto the back of this poly cap. And it's entirely just so that you can pose it, and it's just, that just feels so strange. But it makes sense. It's just, Like, couldn't we do that with the shoulder joints? Instead of using that flaky ass, like, ABS only connection joint? Like, I would have much preferred polycaps in the shoulders. Alright, and now we have the head with the two hair pieces, and as previously mentioned, this can extend out pretty fucking far. So we can get that nice flowy hair look like we have whenever she drifts through space. And then we just socket that onto the rest of the body, onto that weird ass fucking neck joint that we popped off on accident like 6 times building the model. And there we have a finished KOS-MOS with no weapons. And let's see, will she still not stand on her own? I know that was a big problem whenever we were building her, is like she just would not stand on her own. Even though she's got these nice defined leg joints. Trying to like even sumo squat her, and she's just with those the fact that she has heels is just making the posing really fucking terrible. But next we get to build the guns. So go ahead and you can see real quick here, like she looks good. She looks really, really good. Just a lot of posability. The shoulder joints are easily the weakest portion of the kit, in my opinion. The shoulder and the torso joints. Like, if you don't need to change the position of the shoulders, it's one thing, but otherwise, just like this, the general chest area is just not the best constructed. So we're just gonna place her off to the side. And we'll put her over here. Because we're going to start building her weapons. We're done with this piece. We've got the extra hands. We need sprue eye, which I don't think we've done at all yet. Oh wait, no, we took one thing off of this earlier. So this is sprue eye. This is easily the heaviest sprue of the entire kit. But as you can tell, it seems to be most of the armaments. But it looks like the first things first, we're building the pistols. So we need 14, 15, and 16 off of both sprues, because we're making 2 guns. If I can remember how to hold a pair of clippers, this would go a lot faster. 14. 15 is the actual handle of the gun. And 16 is the major, like, cylinder of the revolver. We'll go ahead and open up the other sprue eye. And we need 14, 15, and 16 off this one. Just gotta clean these up and put them together. So I know this track isn't, but this music track that's playing right now reminds me of Hotline Miami. This is the piece that I clipped entirely wrong. I had my clippers facing the wrong direction. This one I just clipped too far away. More, and then we can assemble the guns. The music playing right now is all by Freakgen, Freqgen. I don't know if the thing on my Twitch page is working, but it should be showing my recently played music on Spotify. But not sure if that actually is working at this point. But yeah, like it's all like nice ambiance for the most part, and most importantly, it's not gonna get me DMCA'd. So we take the main stem of the revolver, and then yeah, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time thinking about this. They're just gonna go on either side. Side just kind of finishes it all off. Okay, that's actually really cool. So the two pieces go into each other and they just go into the break point of the pistol, so you can actually like have a reloading animation. Like obviously the inside of the gun doesn't look like chambers, but the fact that you can, like, they built it to have a break action is really cool. There was a lot of like really small details that they decided to put into this kit that really go to show how nice it is. And then if we go into the hands, we actually have two specific hands that are made specifically for holding the guns. I'm gonna pop on Google Translate real quick for this next step, because there's some descriptions on here. After assembling, replace it with the rest of the main body. This figure is for the right hand, hold it in your left hand. If you use weapon handle 1, please, okay. So it's just telling you you can swap the hand for the opposite side. fuck do you get this in here? There we go. So the hand for the gun has some nice trigger discipline, which is cool. So we got the two hands for the guns. We could easily put KOS-MOS into a nice pose with those. But next, we're gonna make the laser cannon. So we need K and L. Okay, so we got K right here. Never mind, this is C. I can read. Is K the big armament sprue? No, that's I. Ah, I see. K was underneath. I completely forgot K existed. This is really interesting. So it's, I could be wrong, but it's a slightly more like gunmetal-y color than the actual like leg joints. Like if I put it if I put it side by side with the sprue that is all of the white joints, you can tell it's just a slightly more metallic shade. Which makes sense. Nice coating vibe. Okay, so we need K3 and K4. And then we are going to need L1. What the fuck sprue is L? It's not the armaments. Is it the blue stuff? Yes. I was wondering when we'd get to this blue. This is another extremely pretty translucent blue. This is not ABS, but it's feeling a lot like ABS right now. Just because my blade... I think my blade might be getting dull. Trim these down. One more sprue joint. That one. I'm not sure if I've said it before, but one thing that really kind of makes me sad about this kit is that there's no stand that comes with it. Like the Lena figure that we made before, it had a nice little clear plastic Gundam style stand to hold it up. But I guess Kotobukiya doesn't give a shit about that. So this little blue plastic piece just kind of inserts into the base of this and just goes between the two chunks. Come on, snap together. that looks nice. And then, okay, is this a different hand it's letting me know about? So it's mentioning that at this point you can stick a hand onto it. No, it's the hand that I already have on here that we would use for it. I'm just going to translate what it says in the instructions. I'm pretty sure it's just the, hey, you can switch between left and right hand. Okay, yeah, that's all it is. Okay, now we need K2, 1, and 5. It says, be careful about the nubs on 1. I'm not sure why. Because it doesn't need the nubs to go together. It's got a nub on the underside, but there's no reason to clip that. Okay, so 2 is the shorter one. We'll clean it first because it goes directly into the main body. This is another piece. It's got a decent mold line running right down the middle of it, but this is one of those coated pieces. So if I trim that line, it's gonna look like a major eyesore more than it already does. So we just take the main fuselage of this cannon. And just notch it in right here. Nope, I'm dumb. It's a little further down. Is that right? Okay, yeah, that's right. It just feels really loose. One thing I've been kind of wondering for this kit is it's got this nice satin coating on this piece and then the body pieces, and it's like I'd love to trim down the mold lines and then repaint it to look good, but like I've never seen anybody use satin paints on model kits, and I'm not even sure like who makes a good satin paint for models. I guess you just use a white and use like a satin varnish, but so the interesting part about this is this piece of the kit can assemble two different ways. And I'm assembling it the one way right now. But we'll disassemble and reassemble it. Okay, it's loose because I actually was doing it upside down. Because I don't pay attention. So there's two different notches for this to connect to. Could probably use, yeah. I don't even know who makes a good satin varnish. Alright, I'm gonna take the clippers and get in on this. I think this is why it was saying to be careful about the nubs. because this sprue gate is like on the underside despite having been attached to the side. And in the process of clipping it, you could easily clip the attachment points. So this piece just goes on the top side of this gun. So like this is the like closed version of the gun. But then you can take this off and mount it further back. And it opens up. And when you open it up, you can take the longer blade and attach it. Thank you for the anonymous gift sub. It's amusing to me because just this blade of this cannon is literally almost as tall as the entire model. And so this just... Okay, I guess I gotta put it on first. So you take these two little side pieces off. This actually goes up and just kind of like hugs around the first piece that we put in. And then the side pieces attach. This honestly is such a cool fucking gun. Come on. Find the hole. Like honestly, like, is that not so fucking cool? And then we can just put this in KOS-MOS' hands. Yep, arm came off. Expected that wholly. Okay, so earlier I remarked about the hands being made like polycaps, and I'm not wrong. It's just, the hand literally tried to flex shut because of the flexibility. Trying to wrap the hand around this, it's giving me problems. Use my tweezers to help me here. Tweezers to flex these fingers out to get around the edge. You'd think this would be the easy part, but nope. Alright, I just need the thumb around. And then I can put the arm back on, holding the cannon. Thank you for the anonymous... Are those little ghosties? Those are cute. pop this on the shoulder, and then the other hand can come around. Oh my god, these shoulder joints are gonna drive me absolutely fucking crazy. But theoretically, you get a nice, nice cool cannon hold. But these arms, I'm gonna have to glue these arms just because it is a pain in the ass.
A few moments later.
Basically. So we'll just set that to the side for right now and continue on making these pieces. So we're done with the little transparent sprue. It was only for that. And now we just gotta make the Gatling guns. So we're gonna do this 3 times. 2 times, rather. Okay, so that's cool. We have 1 and 2, which is the 2 sides of the barrels. The gun tips are nice and defined, but any 40k player in here is probably going to be like, you should drill out the tips. And I might, eventually. Because like, they look cool, but they are very much still very shallow. And if I drill them out, it's just going to go straight into the hollow. Because they're completely hollow on the inside. So it might look worse than it did otherwise. And then I need all 3 of these 3s. And we'll go ahead and grab the other sprue and grab the same bits from that. I totally forgot to punch these out. I clipped all the pieces, but they didn't fall out on their own. Fuck you, Twitch, it gave you away. Hey, Butts, how you doing today? I had a strong feeling it was you with those anonymous subs. You tend to gift the subs to very strange names. Think they don't have to worry about cleaning these up too terribly. Blew out your arm a few days ago on painkillers. Ugh, that sucks. Honestly, like, the idea of having an arm injury, to me, is just, like, so fucking mortifying. Like, you can break my legs, I'll be okay. Break my arms, I'm gonna be miserable. Because, like, not only do I do my hobbies with my arms, I also, you know, do my work with my arms. So not being able to use my arms is literally like one of the worst punishments I can think of for myself. Like, I'm sure if I like busted my arms and was never able to use them again, I'd probably buy like the Xbox One adaptive controller and get a whole bunch of things to let me like manipulate games using my feet or something. But God, it just, the idea of that just sucks so much. It's one of those things I definitely understand my privilege of not being disabled in that matter. Your movement is of an Xbox player now. Yeah. Yeah, from what I saw on the box of this model, it looks like if you want it to look like it is pictured, this is the part of the kit that needs the most markup, because it uses this this gunmetal gray plastic for the entire gun, when obviously there's like gold accents and other stuff on it. Your buddy uses that controller and he's cracked with it. Honestly, like, the adaptive Xbox controller is such a cool concept, despite being absolutely insane. Like, the fact that you can literally just hook up whatever you want, and it does the job. Like, that's just so cool. I sure hope these aren't keyed on one side. Well, maybe they are, and I just got lucky the first 6 times because that did not want to go in. Alright, so we got all 3 of them, and now we can put on the tops of the gun barrels. Okay, so I guess these aren't hollow, so if I drilled out the tips, it wouldn't look too strange. It would still have like a nice solid barrier in the back to like cast a shadow against. It wouldn't just be completely hollow and obvious. But yeah, we got the fronts of the gun cannons right there. Is it storming down there? You're near the lake, you're getting bad winds and clouds. He has his mouse mapped to a stick that he uses in his mouth. That's cool. Mouth sticks are quite possibly one of the coolest things that technology ever gave us. Did I skip a beat? Okay, no, I didn't skip a step. It's just ordered very strangely. So we need 5, 12, and 13. As far as it's storming down by me, Butts, it is not storming by me as far as I know. I did check the forecast this morning and it said there was a 50% chance of thunderstorms. So I have a feeling it might. 5, 12... and 5, 12, and 13, which is like the center of the gun. I think all of my cutters might be getting slightly dull here. Guns and the barrels can go to the side for right now. And we just gotta clean this up. And again, these are unfortunately coated pieces, so I can't clean the mold lines too much without causing it to look like trash. Unless I'm gonna repaint the entire thing, and I might eventually, but if I'm gonna repaint the entire thing, I can clean it up more at that point. You're gonna have to hang out with your dumbass cat. He's freaking out. Talk to you later. Have a good night. Yeah, have a good night, Butts. Hopefully, your cat chills out. And, yeah, hopefully you have a good night. Okay, that's trimmed. Alright, so we can put these pieces together now. So we got the stem in the middle, and then we have 5 and 12 on either side. In both sides, the big canister type piece goes up on the far side. Where does it connect? Okay, so it looks like... Oh, okay. It connects further down than I thought. For some reason I thought it was going to connect further up. That was nice solid linkage, like a Lego block almost. I bet you it's going to be just as much of a pain in the ass like a Lego block to get apart, if I ever needed to. Nice defined vent holes here in the back, that's cool. I remember whenever she uses this gun in the game, she shoots the entire thing and then she just kind of like pulls to the side and then the entire clip falls out the back. Which is a very fun artistic concept, but seems kind of silly. Having the clip somewhere where you have to detach it, but you can't actually really hook it back up. But, you know, she teleports her equipment in, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, now we need I9 and 11 as part of the linkage to get the next piece together. Do these ones one at a time just because they're smaller bits and I don't want to get them mixed up. Okay, so these pieces aren't actually part of the linkage. This is 9, it's going to go on the left. It's just going to go on this little piece right here. It's essentially making the front half of the handle. It helps if I put it on right. see right here. It's got like a little dot on the front of it. I wonder if that's supposed to be like what does the laser sight. That would make sense based on what we see in the game. Just the laser shoots out. And then we take this piece with the lip on the top because the lip's got to go up into here. And it literally just bolts in basically. And there we go. Grab 9 and 11 off the other sprue. Wrong side of the gun. Slide these together. Now we got two nicely guns, but we still need the clips for the back. Okay, it looks like we actually have a little bit more than just the clips. We also got the back of the gun. Apparently the barrels have caps on the back, which, you know, doesn't really make too much awful sense. Just because, well, that's, you know, a thing. And then, yeah, 4 is the other piece I'm gonna need. Like, if the barrels are entirely enclosed... No, I guess the gun does have a, like, lower section that could feed them. Not sure why they needed 3 gates for such a small piece, but I guess they wanted to make sure that they got the detail. Because if you look at this piece, it does have a considerable amount of detail. It's got like the venting on either side. It's got like 2 little almost like rivet holes, and then I'm not sure what the hell's supposed to be in the center. If that's where the clip's gonna attach or what. Not entirely sure. It is a kind of dense piece. It just doesn't feel like something that needs 3 sprue gates. I feel like the 2 on either side would be sufficient. But I'm no designer. So we literally just come in here and pop this on the back. Is this keyed in any way? No, it's perfectly identical. So can't put that on wrong. And then this piece just slots into the back here. Same thing on this gun. Come on. Why don't you want to function? it just doesn't like that it's not aligned at the same time whenever it's trying to go on. Tolerances are too tight. Come on. I'm gonna try flipping it upside down, see if that helps at all. Shouldn't, but... like, it'll go on the one side fine, but then it doesn't want to go onto the other side. Gonna sleep, have a good one? Alright, have a good one, Say. I don't know why this singular piece is being such a pain for me. There we go. Nice big bold snap when it happened, but it popped right on. Okay, I did not realize how involved this piece is. Okay, so we have I-8 and 10. Which are just these two pieces right here. Which will finish off this sprue minus the one extra piece that for some reason it's the one piece of asymmetry in KOS-MOS's legs. She has this little spine on one but not on the other. Guess it was easier just to do the same sprue twice instead of putting that as a completely separate piece. That sprue's done. Let's get these cleaned up and snapped together. This is that, the magazine that we were looking at earlier. Well, that we were talking about, rather. I didn't realize till I clipped it out, but, like, it's literally, like, there's one piece that's literally just the side of the clip, the magazine. And the other side is just like the entire magazine minus that one side. Like with most of the other stuff, it's been like, okay, here's two halves, shove them together. But this one's like, nope, it's just going to be the faceplate, basically. Make sure I'm putting this together right. Okay, no, because the little flange needs to go in the back. And those are just gonna press together. I know we have this nice, it's got the little like clippy mechanism despite the fact that the clip doesn't actually exist. And that just snaps into the back of the gun. And does it not go any deeper than that? Does it literally just only go like half an inch onto the thing? Oh wait, no, there it goes. Snap the rest of the way in. And so we've got the two magazines, but that's only one way it can be built. So it's got this nice little box magazine, which is, in my opinion, like incredibly tiny for the size of the gun. But that's because we're about to fix it. Because there is an alternate option. These gunmetal pieces that we've been looking at for a while that have been bagged up, that have just not come out to play since. These are apparently like an extended mag. I don't remember the existence, yes or no, of these in the series. Like, I remember seeing the ejections of the smaller magazine, but not these larger magazines. I'm wondering if these are used in a cutscene or something. Because this is an absolute chonker. This is like using a beta C mag on your AR-15. And again, this is kind of weird, like, you'd think it would be like a half and half thing, like I said before. And it kind of is in the back of this piece, but in the front it's more of a faceplate like the other one is. Like you can see, it's half and half in the back, but the front is just like a faceplate. But then on the bottom, it's also like half and half. Just strange design choices. You can see here, it's got that same clipping mechanism look as the original. And this is an interesting angle. That's just a fucking massive magazine. Like, comparatively, like, if this is a 50 shot mag, this is like a 300 shot mag. That's impressively different. So you've got the 2 extra magazines. Oh, okay, so we do have the boob knife. go back to Google Translate to see what we say here. So we've got connection to mechanical base flying 3 sold separately. Interesting. And then we've got the Deteneritas parts. Okay. So it looks like what it's showing right here is on this model, if we take the torso off and we remove this piece right here, on the F sprue, we have this one that has a little stem on it. And that stem connects to F6. Oh, it's another one of those swivel joints like we have inside the head. And there's a dedicated polycap right here that goes onto that. And that's used to connect to a flying base. So I do have a couple of Gundam flying bases. I might try that out sometime in the near future, but let's go ahead and look at the Teneritas pieces. Because that's a whole nother head connection. Not head, but body. So we have T5, which, okay, so that's these pieces right here. We got the two basically sides of the tits. And then E12, which is the one breasts that we were looking at earlier that I mentioned. Huh, it's strange that we didn't use those at some point. I'm just going to pop both of these out. Which are not multi-part. Like, I remember, if you guys remember, this top piece was a thing, but on this, it's just, it's a little different. I guess it's going to construct basically the same way, just the chest is going to be a little bit larger and more visible instead of having that white piece on top. Because the white piece is torn away whenever we go to connect that. So we go ahead and clean this up real quick. Don't have to clean up the sides because, well, they came pre-attached. And so we have the right boob, and that's going to connect in right here. God, that looks awkward as hell. I honestly might switch to this in general just because it'll probably hold together slightly better. Now we need F17, which is the like spinal piece that we had one before for the other chest. Correctly, this was upside down of what I thought it would be, and it just faces backwards, and this is just going to go into the upper back, right? Yes, that right there. Makes this very awkward looking chunk. And then the other side gets a polycap first. The last polycap B. I was wondering why there was two of these. Makes sense. So we've got two of these terrible ass polycap joints because they're squishy, but the piece that you have to connect them to can't really squish. Because, like, if you look at it, the piece that this polycap goes into is all the way up here, which barely protrudes out from here, but it has to connect into the front side of the lower body. So it's just kind of super awkward to stick together. And so we've got that, the nice open cleavage, and you can see there's just like tiny little pinholes all over, which is where the Teneritas pieces are going to connect. We are done with the flesh sprue. So now we need sprue B, the last white pieces that we have. Okay, so we need pieces 2 and 3, which are right here. And I'm actually going to click these off one at a time because I remember the first time around on the first chest, the piece that these go into was somewhat confusing. So this is just 2 right now that we're trimming up. And 2 goes underneath the left breast. So we do have a notch, and the notch is going to go come on. Am I doing this backwards? Yes. Because the rounded side needs to be in the front. So the notch is there, and come on, go together. Okay, there we go. That looks a little bit better. Now let's grab 3. This one's going to do the same thing. Just underneath the chest into this one little divot. Come on, go on a little bit harder. There we go. Clean this up a little bit more. Okay, and that, we still have a couple pieces left on here. Okay, so next we need B12 and B14 on the sides. These are little, like, strappy pieces. Do these one at a time because, again, they're tiny and almost identical. Don't want to get them mixed up and then have problems. So 12 just goes in on the right side right here. And it just hangs down. Okay, so that's interesting. I never noticed that in the in-game animation, but it's like the strap that holds everything together is actually, like, torn down. This is an awkward fucking connection. It is 12 that I clipped, right? Yeah. Is it further back or is it in the front? No, it's in the front. I have no idea how the hell this is supposed to go in. Like, I'm trying and it's just, like, going real weird on me. Like, it looks like it should be going in from the side, but it's not. Like, it has to go on after the bodice piece, but like, you can see where it needs to go, it's just like not going. Okay, I think I might have found it. Okay, this is like incredibly frustrating. Like, it feels like I'm doing it wrong and I don't know why. Okay, I'm gonna pull this bodice piece off and see if I can at least just like get it in there normally, because there's actually a hole that it's supposed to go into and it's just not going into that hole, period. Or is it not supposed to? No, it's definitely supposed to. Okay, it looks like there might be some extra plastic inside, so I'm trying to grab that with a knife right now. A little bit of extra plastic from the molding process, probably. Well, not molding, but coating. Okay, I got it in the hole it needs to go into. Now let's see if I can not have to pull it out and somehow get this to slide on underneath it. There we go. Okay, so that's hanging down properly now. Let's see if the other side's gonna be as much of a pain. I'm already having better luck on this side. Like, it's actually at least wanting to go into the hole. I gotta get it to go in deeper. Son of a bitch. Where did that go? Flung the piece forward of me. And I don't exactly see it. There it is. This happens when you apply more pressure than the piece wants to take. It goes flying. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing I did in the other one. Take this piece off and then fit it on afterwards. Just because with the angle, it's really difficult to actually like get it to fit in with the other piece trying to like stop it. It's actually super easy to get on after the fact. That's a bad instructional choice on the part of the manufacturer. Okay, so next we need F18. That's gold. Alright, so it's the first boob blade. And F18 is going to go straight into the neck. So it's the primary forward-facing boob blade. And then J6, I don't remember which sprue J. Okay, J is one of these. Okay, yeah, so this J is already all used, and this J just has the one neck collar left, which is what we're grabbing right now. Which is still humorous to me that like this is the thing that holds the entire neck and body kind of together for the neck to like go into. Forgot that there is a ball joint on that. I was wondering why the neck was kind of like lolling around earlier, and that's why. Okay, so next we need F7 and 10, which are the two like wings. And these, this time, literally just like socket by like one bit into the side. These are the flakiest fucking pieces on both types of this model. Can't tell if I'm being dumb here. Okay, yeah, I was having it upside down. It's a pretty solid connection. Okay, yeah, that's actually more solid than I was thinking it was. And on this side, I'm having a little bit of a conflict. There we go. Oh, neck blade fell out. And now I just need all the tiny little gold pieces that make up the knives. And each one is individually numbered. So I'm going to cut these out and then arrange them as they're supposed to go together. So we've got 13, 16, 15, 14, 11, and 12. I'm going to go ahead and clip a 2 and 6 real quick. Those are the pieces for the flying stand connection. I have a feeling it's going to work with the Gundam pieces. And I have a feeling, just because of the fact that there's no real good way to make this thing stand, I am going to end up swapping that out. So I'm just going to clean that up real quick. And just put that together on the side. And you see that, that's literally just a little cap piece that gets the poly cap put into it that makes the final connection. This one goes in first. I'm kind of wondering at this point, because of the fact that that there's no piece to actually resemble the particle effect of the Teneritas, if I can find like a clear resin sphere model and print that out and find a way to suspend it in the middle. Just like a nice blue painted resin sphere. that is the completed Teneritas mode chest. You get the 7 boob knives. You're one leg short of being able to call it a boob spider. But yeah, that's a thing. It just pops out like that. Get the big nice particle boom, and you can just. It's got all the pieces to be able to swap with the normal chest. And so we have 2 more phases. I'm just going to take out of the packaging real quick. This sprue is empty. The gold sprue is empty. This we've got 4 extra hands. I'll go ahead and pop those out real quick as well. These gray sprues. We have the 1 extra bit here. On the white sprue, we do have 1 extra piece labeled 20. Gonna have to go back over the instructions to see what we missed there. This sprue G is empty, sprue D we know is empty. And then this one just has that 1 last poly cap, which I'm just going to clip out and stick inside that joint right now. And so, we have one completed KOS-MOS Kotobukiya version 4 kit with all of the extra bits. And options. That is a sizable quantity of reflection. I apologize for how much glare is going on there. But yeah, lots of options for this kit. Really cool looking kit. Come on, focus. And lots of customization. Little fiddly on certain pieces. The shoulder joints are easily the worst part of the kit. The neck joint is being a little weird. I actually just realized as I was flexing its neck around, that little neck collar popped out of where it should be because, well, if the neck joint flexes, it's going to come with it. So that's a little bit of a funky issue. I do notice that the legs have an extra open joint. I don't know what that's about. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm going to go back to the legs. I wonder if that's where 20 is supposed to go. And upper leg. This is the one with the knee. Yep, that's where I missed it. So one last bit. piece is just going to slide in there. And we can see it's kind of... You know, I commented on this at the very end of the game, that, oh, that's right, she's got this asymmetrical hem piece. And it's not connected to the dress at all, it's just connected to the leg on the kit. But yeah, great kit, lots of fun to build, and lots of customizable options. I'm going to have to find a fun pose for this and set it up in my cabinet sometime soon. Probably take some photos shortly. But yeah, but that's basically all we have for today. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for watching. I just realized and remembered there are a whole bunch of stickers that are completely irrelevant. They're never mentioned throughout the instructions. It looks like, I'm assuming what these are for. No, because it shows it in the photo. It just, does it not ever give you a guide of where to put the stickers? Yeah, I guess there is no sticker placement guide. Oh wait, sticker placement guide is actually on the front page. Not sure why that's not in the individual steps. We've got a bunch of different stickers. We can see here in the decal guide that on her shoulders there's supposed to be this little like flower symbol. There's little KOS-MOS logos on her ears, on the front of her headpiece, on her neck. There's little like scalloping pieces that go on the upper armbands and the stockings. More KOS-MOS logos that go down on the legs. A caution logo that goes on the back of the guns. Another KOS-MOS logo that goes on the side of the guns. And you can see they paint these with a bunch of like gold decoration and like even black banding to make them look even better. And like this is like all like a blackish gray. And there's a KOS-MOS symbol, actually that's a vector symbol on the gun as well. So that's something I'll have to look into. And I just realized I wasn't showing this to any of you guys. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of different decals that need to go on. But that is a project for another day. And the build is done. There also is, really nicely in the back of the book, I don't know what brand of paints they are, but it's basically a color guide of what colors and mixes of shades to use of a specific company's products in order to get the colors right. Which is really cool. I don't know why you would color the hair. I love the translucence of the hair. But they definitely give you like a one-to-one recipe for what gold to use. And I'm gonna have to probably try to find references for all of those online to see if I can possibly get something to paint this a little bit better with. But definitely something I want to eventually explore, especially with like the guns. You can see right here, the guns, they're just gunmetal gray from the kit. But it's actually supposed to be like a